Good morning, everyone. Y'all, the scripture in Isaiah says, "And the government of God, and the government shall be upon his shoulders." Can I tell y'all what this next move and this next thing that God is doing, y'all, is that He's shifting His government back to Himself. See, y'all, we have made this thing about us. We have made our church service and our church services and everything that goes around about us and not God, y'all. And so it's not strange that y'all years ago they had this argument over that they're gonna take off in God we trust off the money. Cause anything established under God, y'all, stays established, right? And so now our problem is we have made this thing about us, and now God says I gotta overthrow some kingdoms. Now God says I gotta overthrow some governments that made it about themselves. God says I gotta overthrow the churches, y'all. And so y'all remember, we are the church. So now God says, I got to overthrow this stuff because now you made it about you and not me. And God says, now they're no longer looking to me, but they're looking to you. Now they're not only looking to me, they're no longer looking to me for healing, but they're looking for you. They're looking for man to do it. And God says, I got to overthrow this stuff to get it back in its proper place. Y'all, in this season, the best thing we can do is search God. The best thing we can do is seek God even the more. Get to know God even the more for yourself. And the best thing as ministers of the gospel that we can teach these people is to get to know God for themselves. Not to let them see us, not to let them see the houses, the cars, the money, but teach them who God is themselves. Because see, there's coming some stuff. There's coming some stuff that's going to happen, y'all, that they're going to know they need God. There's coming a crisis. There's coming some stuff that's going to happen, y'all, that they're going to know that they're going to need God. And see, many won't understand it. But God says, I got to overthrow this stuff. He said, so now we done took out prayer out of our schools. And not only we took prayer out the schools, and so now we're blaming everybody else because we took prayer out the schools. But now, not only we took prayer out the homes, but some of us ain't even praying. Out the schools, but some of us ain't even praying at home. Some of us ain't praying on our jobs. Some of us ain't praying like we're supposed to be in our churches. So now God says, I got to overthrow this stuff to get it back to its proper place. Make sure what we do in this season is centered around God. Make sure what we say in this season is about God and not about us. Make sure we're pointing the people to God and not us. Because He is not about us. Make sure you're covered under the blood in this season. Make sure your house is covered. Make sure you're covered under God in this season, y'all. Because there's a devil that's roaming, y'all. But you better make sure you're covered under the blood. Make sure your family is covered under the blood. And see, many of us done lost our way and God ain't pleased. And God says, I got to overthrow this stuff. Because you made it about you and not me. God says, I got to overthrow this stuff. Because now you're more focused on everything else than focused on me. So He says, I got to redo it all. I got to redo it. I got to reset. So yeah, there's a reset, but it might not be the type of reset you think it is. Because God says, I got to reset my kingdom back in its proper place. God says, I got to reset my government back in its proper place. And see, some of us have misused and misabused His kingdom for our own gain. And God ain't pleased. So now He says, I got to overthrow this stuff. Make sure, y'all, in this season that we're seeking God. Make sure in this season that we're leaning towards God. Make sure if we're doing anything, we're pointing the people towards God. Because we ain't God. We're vessels used by God, but we're not God. And I pray you all be blessed.